Joining us for more on tonight's topic is Phil Pagano, the Executive Director of the Sarasota Farmers Market, and Christine Dormois, a farmer with Jessica's Organic Farm Stand. Thank you both for joining us here tonight. And the reason why we're doing this story is the Tampa Times just did a wonderful investigative series on this issue that really kind of struck people like me who go around and we go to these farm stands, and sometimes where, you know, the fact that some produce is from South America or wherever else is obvious, but I didn't know that sometimes it's really not. So what you do in terms of going out to check your vendors is it extraordinary for somebody in your position?
Well, I think because I'm a full-time manager, I have the time to do it. But, you know, over the years, I've done these managers' field trips, and I actually go out and do videos of the farms, and I post them on our website. But, you know, in the past, we had a problem with somebody that portrayed that they grew it, and we went to their farm and it wasn't growing, and we asked them not to come back. So,
and that was quoted in the Times story because it was so extraordinary. You went out to Plant City.
Correct.
And what happened?
Well, when we got out there, there was nothing growing. There was empty boxes, you know, around his barn. So we had called him. He came over, and I asked him, you know, what was going on, and he said, well, there's nothing growing this time of year, and it was in the peak of season. And he had, you know, signs on his baskets that said locally grown. So we asked him, you know, not to come back.
Were you shocked?
I was, because I really didn't think that someone would really do that to the community or to a market. So,
Christine, what impresses me most about Jessica's Organic Farm Stand is that the produce is very clearly marked what you grow and what you fill in with suppliers. But as we heard in Adam's piece, there are some places where they mix it up. That must, number one, make you angry.
To some degree. I mean, it's also the responsibility of the consumer to ask questions and develop a relationship with something as important as your food source.
Most people don't ask questions. Or
most people don't ask questions, yeah. And the thing about it is, you know, if you ask questions, hopefully the person has integrity, the farm has integrity, and they're honest.
So you know, I was looking at your piece earlier, and you know, I saw that, you know, how do you know if it's local? And I'll tell you, you know, a lot of people go to Warden's Farms, or go to Sweetgrass Farms, or go to Kinsey's Produce that has everything labeled, and that's why they have long lines. And they'll go to Jessica's Farm because they've known these people for years and they trust them. So, you know, these farmers are building the trust in people.
Right, but there are a lot of other people who maybe on a Saturday or Sunday morning or just Googling local farm stands. I'm thinking about myself because I've done this. And we're driving out to places that maybe we have no prior experience to. I'm hoping that you could just lay this out a little bit, or what the landscape is. A lot of the produce that you are selling comes from Plant City,
well, our major comes from growers.
Right. But does the local industry kind of, is Plant City the central hub, if you will?
Well, there's some in Tampa too that have resale. But I will say in her article too, Laura did a great job, that there are different qualities when some of these resellers go to some of these places.
Explain that.
And well, Kinsey's Produce, I know, they go early, they go a day early, and they actually hand pick, you know, the things that they're going to sell the next day.
Because one of the quotes in the article that just kind of bowled me over was the fact that a lot of this is centered around Plant City and Lakeland, which is the corporate headquarters of Publix, and some of these resellers are basically taking what Publix rejects. The quote here is, what Publix doesn't want is what actually people are buying. It's Publix rejects. And boy, if you could sit back there.
I couldn't agree with that with our market, because I know they're handpicking. I know about a month ago they got some pineapples. Well, obviously pineapples don't grow locally, and they brought them here. They had a truckload of pineapples, and the quality wasn't right. So they had a truckload of pineapples that they brought back.
Who regulates this?
It's up to the stand who's running it, and You know, it's up to the consumer again to ask questions. That's what I would urge people to do, is develop a relationship, ask questions.
But neither the county or the state is coming in to make sure that...
Well, USDA will come along, especially for some, different food items, especially certified organic people, which Jessica is, and Warden's Farms, and some of our other vendors. But, they're constantly checking to make sure that that the organic grower is bringing the right
driving
thing in.
around on the weekend, you'll also see roadside farm stands, people selling off the back of a truck. Who's regulating them?
I think you're on your own if you buy something from them. I think if you come to, whether it be Jessica's or our downtown market, I think you have people, Peter Burkhart, he's been at our market as a grower for 37 years since day one. And I know Bill's been growing probably for
almost 30 years.
30 years. So there's some good reputation in town.
And in order to protect the reputation in town, do you hear about people who are, fudging the rules and fudging what they should be doing? And is there almost like a fraternity of companies and places that will point that out?
Well, I think the other farmers or the other growers will police themselves, like when it comes to having multiple people. And that's what brought the attention when we had a problem, is one of our organic people said, hey, he's putting up that organic sign. I'd like to see it checked out also. So farmers will actually, check on other farmers that are, not to, to hurt them, but just to make sure that they're
Word
viable.
spreads quickly, too,
Yes.
in those circles, and bad practices, and, people talk, so then customers are aware, to a large degree.
And Christine, what we are all, or a lot of us are attracted to organic products, but is it more difficult to keep up the regular supply of organic fruits and vegetables?
Not if you know what you're doing. I mean, farming's always dependent. It's at the whim of the weather, and it's a hard job to undertake, in the sense that there's not the same stability as a 9-to-5 job where you're getting paid from someone else, where weather won't wipe out an entire crop. But if you've been doing what you're doing for a while, there's some.
So the bottom line here, and the takeaway point that people at home should be aware of, is that you have to ask the questions yourself, the consumers, to go out there. Your farm stand, everything is clearly labeled, but you got to ask questions.
I would agree. And like with us, we have our field trips at our growers on our website, so you can see actually where they grow.
All right. Thank you both for coming in today.